Good morning, boys and girls. Today we are looking at Chapter 12, Lesson 1, and we're on page 697. And our lesson today is Describe Plane Shapes. Now, not the kind that fly through the air. These are a different kind of plane shape. Plane shape is just a shape, a two-dimensional shape, like a square or a rectangle or triangle, something like that. Okay? So not three-dimensional. And our essential question today, what are some ways to describe two-dimensional shapes? So let's check out Unlock the Problem and see what they tell us here. It says an architect draws plans for houses, stores, offices, and other buildings. Look at the shapes in the drawing at the right. So we'll check these out. So we got lots of shapes built into this house, and we're going to try to describe them. And it says a plane shape is a shape on a flat, a shape on a flat surface. It is formed by points that make curved paths, line segments, or both. So let's take a look at some of these vocabulary words that we have to know for this unit. First one is point. And a point is an exact position or location. So here we have a line in black, and then we have this point right here. Okay, and we'll always be able to tell where a point is because of the little dot right there. That'll tell us, hey, that's a point. Now let's take a look at endpoints. All right, endpoints. Points that are used to show segments of lines. And here we have two endpoints, and endpoints, as you probably guessed, go at the end of a line segment. Okay, they go at the end. And notice the difference here on this thing. We have endpoints here, and if we go up here, we have little arrows. Okay, so if I put a point here, I'll put it in red. If I put a point here, it's not an endpoint because that arrow right there tells us something special, and we'll go over that here in just a moment. All right, let's take a look at ray. A ray right here. It's straight, it's part of a line, and it has one end point, and it continues in one direction. So a ray has an end point, and then it continues on in one direction. Next, we have a line, and this one's really important to remember, that a line is a straight path, continues in both directions. Here's the important part. It does not end. So when we see this right here, and we see these little arrows there, and we have one here, those mean that that line actually continues on. Okay? It just continues on and on and on forever and ever and ever. That's what a line is, okay? So a line, the arrows tell us that it continues going, and it will never have an end point. So this little guy right here is an end point. A line will never have that. A line will just have points, not end points. And finally, we have line segment. It's straight, it's part of a line, and it needs to have two end points. So there's one that I circled already, and there's the other one, okay? Two endpoints. Now I can put 2 points here on this line, but again, because it has these arrows, that means that line continues on forever. So no matter where I put a point, it will never be an endpoint on a line. We have to get rid of the arrow, and then we could have an endpoint. That's what we have here, endpoints. So this is a line continuing on forever. This is a line segment because it has the two endpoints. And we'll get more used to all this terminology. Definitely use this page, though, page 697, to look back and check out the definition for all of these things because I know it could be a lot to remember. Okay. This section right here. Some plane shapes are made by connecting line segments at their endpoints. One example is a square. Describe a square using math words. So there's our square, and it says think. How many line segments and endpoints does a square have? Well, let's take a look. There's a line segment, there's a line segment, there's one, and there's one. So it has 4 line segments because it has 4 sides. And how many endpoints does it have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Has 4 endpoints because it has 4 corners. The corners are your endpoints. So a square has 4 line segments. The line segments meet only at their end points. Only at their endpoints. All right, that's the introduction page. Let's go to the next page where we can put in a little more work here. Plane shapes have length and width, but no thickness. They are also called two-dimensional shapes. It would be a three-dimensional shape if it had thickness or depth. So length and width. And they call this length and they call this width. They can be kind of switched around to, that's not as important. So this down here could be the width and this could be the length. Plane shapes can be open or closed. So let's define a closed shape. Closed shapes start and end at the same point. Okay? So think about it like if it was a fence, a pen for where you put a horse or something, or a fenced-in yard, and you have your animal in there. It won't be able to get out because there's no opening in these shapes. They're all closed. They're all closed up. Okay? And so that means, let's go take a look at open shapes. An open shape does not start and end at the same point. So if you put an animal in here, well, it would just go out this way, right? And escape. And it could do the same in any of those others. So those are open. They're not closed in. Those are pretty straightforward. In the space below, draw more examples of closed shapes, and I'll let you do that on your own, but these are all wonderful examples of closed shapes and open shapes. All right. Is the plane, down at the very bottom, is the plane shape at the right a closed shape or an open shape? Let's take a look. There it is right there. If we have an endpoint that we start at and we draw the whole thing, we'll end up getting back to the endpoint. It starts and ends at the same place. Or, in our other example, if we put an animal in there, it would be fenced in and could not get out. So this shape is closed. And why is it considered a closed shape? It starts, sorry about that. It starts and ends at the same point. So starts and ends, A-N-D, and ends at the same point. Same point. All right, there we go. So if we take one more look at that, I'll make my point here in black. It starts there, and then it continues and ends again at the same point. Kind of straightforward. Let's look at share and show. I'll have you do share and show, and then you can check the video here for your work to see if you're right or wrong. So what you'll do after I just kind of introduce it, pause the video, do all the work, resume the video to check your work. So question 1, you can pause the video now, actually, and then go ahead and do it, then resume. All right, boys and girls, hopefully you've done the work. Let's take a look at number 1. Write how many line segments the shape has, and I'm going to kind of highlight them. There's 1, 2, 3. 3 line segments on the triangle because it has 3 sides. 2, circle all the words that describe the shape. So we look at number 2. Number 2 has an end point, and then it goes on forever. So it does have a point. That's right there. And it is a ray because it has one end point and then goes on forever in the other direction. So that is both, ray and a point. Number 3, number 3. Okay. Number 3, that is a closed shape because it could start and end at the same spot. It's not an open shape. Number 4, though, that is definitely an open shape. To make it a closed shape, I would have had to do something like that. but it doesn't have that, so it's open. Number 5 has 2 endpoints, and if it has 2 endpoints, then it's straight. That is a line segment. A line, if it was a line, it would continue on in both directions, so it would need the 2 arrows to be a line. And it doesn't have those, so it does not have those. It is a line segment instead, number 5. Number 6, let's read the directions. Write whether the shape is open or closed. Number 6 is open. And it's open because of this area right here. Number 7, that is all closed in. And number 8, that is also closed in. And then number 9, that is open. And it's open because of that spot right there. All right, boys and girls. Hopefully you did well on Share and Show. If you made mistakes, you can come visit with me so I can clear some things up for you. If you didn't make mistakes and you're feeling very confident, you can move on to your assignment now. As always, do your best, persevere, and good luck. This is Mr. P. As always, I'm out.